It's the end of an era. After 7 years of working in this home studio, I'm moving house. In this video today, I want to share with you my experiences of working from this home studio and in my home over that period of time, and also offer you all the tips and tricks that I've learned along the way. So for the first time in my life, I'm actually going to have my own bespoke home studio space where I'm moving to, which is really super exciting. I have lived on my own in flats previous to living here, where I've been for 10 years. But this is going to be a real step up for me. This situation is very much in the corner of a bedroom, and it's great, and I'm super grateful for it. It's been absolutely wonderful for me over the years, but this is primarily a bedroom, so there's a whole learning curve if you're sharing your studio workspace with a bedroom. And we'll get onto that later on in the video. Now, I actually settled in this part of the house after moving my studio around quite a lot after my son was born. I've been in this house for about 10 years, and at one point it was even in the kitchen, it was in the lounge, and it was originally in what was my son's bedroom. It's a 2-bedroom house, and it finally settled here. So really been around everywhere. In fact, I had my Zoom R16, and often I've even recorded in the car, did a lot of working on the fly around other people's houses, all kinds of stuff. So it's really exciting to actually finally have a bespoke studio space when I move. But what that really did teach me is you can work professionally no matter what your environment, and that's something certainly I want to push forward in this video today for you guys, is that if you've got a compromised space or a small area to work in, there's absolutely no problem in working, not just working on your own material, but I'm talking about working professionally, because I know there can be a bit of a hang-up, or even quite a large hang-up, about charging people for money when you feel like you don't really have that super pro setup. And the truth is, these days, with so much being offered inside the box, that doesn't really matter so much. You can work professionally for sure, even just with a laptop and a set of headphones. It's very much you, your knowledge, your skills and your abilities, which people are going to pay for. And when I look back to 10 years ago, I realized that if I hadn't started then I certainly wouldn't have been able to move forward and work with the clients that I had ended up working with, and actually build my career up. Now, working in this space, actually, I started out doing mix engineering, but actually a lot of the client-based work that came in was a lot more production-based, so I found myself actually needing to record a whole lot more. And the other thing about limitations of your environment is it's kind of easy to use that as an excuse. Once again, if I didn't get started that time ago, when my situation, my life situation, wasn't that easy for work, and particularly with a young child in the house, then I would have moved forward and wouldn't have learned all those things. So no matter what your environment, you absolutely can move forward. And once again, I'm talking also about earning money and working professionally from your space. It's absolutely possible, no matter what your limitations. Before anything, you need an effective workflow method in your home studio. I've devised an absolutely free 7 steps to a musical mix program. You can download the guide for free just below this video. So let me share with you some top tips and tricks that I've learned over 7 years working in this home studio space. And the first one is, if you're sharing your studio, with it being a studio by day and a bedroom by night, then you're going to have to get over the hump of setting your gear up and packing it down. And once or twice in a while, that sounds like it's not going to be much of a big deal, but doing it every day or 5 days a week, packing up and setting down, can become a bit of a grind. And it's something you've got to get over, because it's much easier to just walk into a space and start work. It's just a lot easier when you've got that obstacle in the way of, oh, I've got to set up my stands, I've got to set up my camera like today, my mics, my lights, you know, and get your maybe guitars out of store, maybe they're somewhere else around your house. It can be a bit of a grind, and just having that as an obstacle can stop you from working full stop. So you have to get over that and get used to setting up. And that brings me on to the second thing that you need to get good at, and that's being able to set your gear up and the gear settings quickly and efficiently, and really know your gear inside out. That's going to really speed up your workflow, particularly if you're doing a lot of production work. So you really want to know your mics really well, and that's only really going to come about by doing stuff and recording stuff. So you just got to get stuck in. My next top tip is a very inexpensive bit of gear, which is super handy if you're really compromised for space, and that's this extendable boom arm, which clamps onto your desk. You can put whatever mic you want on the end of it, So if you want to just use it for example, like Zoom calls is super handy. If you want to use it for quick demos, I just keep this cheap dynamic mic on here. Really good for me for doing my screen sharing. But also if you want to do some backing vocals, if you just want to do some recording on the fly, if you want to do a video, it's a real great time saver. The mic's always there, and it kind of also, as I was saying about like setting up of gear, it knocks out sometimes that, oh, I don't want to set up a mic, so I'm not going to do it right now. It's very easy. The mic's set up. You can just load it up and record. That's particularly good if you're a songwriter and you just want to grab those opportunities and recordings on the fly. Now, another top tip if you're setting up and packing down daily and frequently is to add some patch leads on the end of your microphones. Now, I would show you this on my mics, but they're all packed up actually already. But what I have is a few XLR patch leads, which are just like a foot long, and they'll just go into the end of the connection, and then I just connect the XLR lead into them. The reason for that being, with microphones, if you're constantly pulling out leads day after day, these attachments actually for the XLRs can wear and become wobbly and become damaged. Easiest way to get over that, if you have to keep unplugging microphones to tidy up your environment, is just to get a little patch on the end of those little inexpensive patch leads. That works an absolute treat. My next top tip, a set of these. If you've got a challenging home studio environment, headphones are going to be your best friend. Maybe your room sounds horrible. Maybe you're sharing the space with other people and they don't want to listen to you monitoring the same song for the next 4 or 5 hours. Maybe you haven't even got a set of monitors. Headphones are going to be your best friend if you've got a compromised home studio space. So grab yourself a set of closed back headphones if you're going to be doing a lot of tracking in your home studio, so you mitigate spill onto microphones. I prefer open back for mixing. I find them less fatiguing and it's nice to feel like you're within the room. If you're sharing the room with somebody else or the space with somebody else, you probably going to be using the closed backs, because open backs might annoy the hell out of them. If you're working in a small home studio environment, I definitely recommend measuring up the space that you have, then in turn measuring up the size of desk which you're going to put in there, and then measuring up the desk real estate to work out how you can get everything as tidily and compact as possible onto your desk so you can maximize your work environment. That's pretty much what I did here, really measuring out what is really quite a small space to make it a really functional and well working space, so I've got a smooth workflow as possible without having to constantly be unpacking and moving stuff about. And finally, you've got to realize that your space isn't perfect. Like everyone's space isn't perfect. We're working in homes before their studios, so there's going to be flaws. There's going to be flaws in the new space that I'm moving into, and I want to share that whole experience with you. So I'll be doing some videos along the way, just documenting the whole move, packing all this stuff down, set it all up in the new environment. So look forward to seeing you there. Hope you enjoyed this video today. If you did, please remember to like, subscribe. Most importantly, have yourself a great day.